Good day, everyone. Morning, afternoon. This is Tracy Brown, and my team and I of non-diet dietitians, we provide trauma-informed nutrition counseling so that you can feel safer and more agency inside the skin you're in. So I want to apologize first off to everybody who's been waiting for me. I scheduled this live for 3 hours ago. And long story short, I think having a dog who doesn't burn off enough energy in the day before makes morning time and being focused and getting stuff done efficiently so much harder. So anyway, every time I try to go to do this video, I was getting interrupted. But the silver lining in this is that every time I got interrupted, I thought of something else to add to the video. So hopefully that's a help to you all, that I probably would have left a few things out. So let's go ahead and get started. So I put it in my little post yesterday that we're going to give you some little extra vitamins. So in Monday's video, we talked about just the mundane being honestly pretty sacred, and also the key to building some new neural pathways. So for example, if you're really struggling with deprivation-driven eating, you can't really allow yourself to be caught up in the flow of what everybody else is doing in the day, other demands. You kind of have to put your stake in the ground and saying, I'm eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner and snacks. And if it means I have to be the bag lady with a bunch of food in with me that I take everywhere, that's what I'll do, you know, because we're trying to build that neurobiology that, one, your body expects to get fed, and therefore is more likely to give you more accurate signals over time, not instantly, but over time. And also, I really see it as this attachment, like care wound repairing, when you're being a competent adult who takes care of your needs, you know. And it's like, well, you know, what we often do to ourselves, and I know I did this to myself, is kind of recapitulate what was done to me. So not on purpose, but that was just the software that was coming at me about, you know, emotions being kind of, you know, being weak. I just want to say kind of being weak. And then pushing through and powering through and overriding when I needed to take a break, when I needed to rest, when I needed to be vulnerable. There wasn't really, if I could reach out into the yonder here and reach for it, it just wasn't available. So I kind of lived my life that way. You know, the first, you know, decade and a half probably of being an adult. So early 30s, I started to recognize like, oh, I might be pretty together in certain kinds of ways, but I'm still not very good at this self-care thing. And adding another person, baby, to the mix is certainly blowing that up. Any little minor efforts I had. So I really had to look at the ways in which is the priority really being hyper busy and all the things, or is it being authentic and doing a life that's neurobiologically stable and actually can facilitate health, right? All right. So there's that. What else can I mention? Oh, so the little vitamins I want to remind people that are pretty valuable is that if you've watched this little channel station enough here long enough, you know that I am a big fan of neurosensory exercises, which is simply, you know, what movements or resources do you give your body to get in here and now relative safety? All right, these are things you don't need. I mean, they're actually a little jolt extra effective when you do it with somebody, but you can do these at home every day. I know when I was learning these things to get myself out of pretty chronic sympathetic, that I had little hot packs on my kidneys, kind of where my adrenals are, every day, all day long. I'd warm those suckers up between sessions and just really help myself have a sense of being able to sit back in my chair versus chasing people to help them, versus like, hey, come to me in this regulated state. So we can be doing that all day long. If you really struggle once to get yourself to a meal or to get yourself to slow down, you're going to need visual reminders, auditory reminders, textural reminders, probably before each meal and snack, that like you can't really have a threat when you're holding snugly heavy weighted blanket or something on your lap, or inviting in safe enough people. So there's that. So your neurosensory exercises are really, really, really powerful to be putting in before, during, after meals, depending on when you struggle the most. All right, number 2, these are all things that I did not mention in Monday's video, by the way, so this isn't a repeat. Number 2 is got to be relentless with capturing your thoughts. That is the only way that you will learn how to unblend, unvelcro, unemesh with the perfectionism and the judgment and the criticism and the shame. And those are just strategies. That isn't your identity. Most of the ways in which we talk to ourselves, if we observed as an outsider, be like, whoa, do you really talk like that? Do you really think that you're a loser? You'll never get better. Nobody will ever love you. You'll never be healthy. Whatever it is you're telling yourself, is like, is that thought congruent with values? Is it true? You know, I was listening to something earlier today, and with anxious thoughts, let's just put it that way, that only 5 to 10% of the thoughts we actually have any kind of probability of actually being probable, like could happen or true. The rest of it is the future, the past, things that we don't have any control over, kind of romanticized movies, health anxiety, stuff like that. There's so much that we actually think about that makes us scared inside that isn't true. All right, so your job is to be relentless about capturing as much as possible and being a compassionate witness to it, speaking some truth. Okay? And lastly, I didn't put this in Mondays either, but play. Most adults don't play, so they don't ever feel this sense of nourishment. You may be able to accomplish something, but sometimes people just get mind controlled and they believe the lie that they feel really, really great about themselves and confident and accomplished and successful when they have a huge to-do list that they finished in a day. But by the end of the day, they're drained, they feel empty, and they get it all again tomorrow. So I think it's really important to recognize that there needs to be some doses of some kind of play, even if it's something silly. My go-to play is I love making parody songs of things, like commercial, like 80s, 90s, whatever songs I hear. I'll make up something really silly about it and do the non-dancing person's dance, kind of stuff, which really my daughter just adores because she's got that silliness in her too, that I know I won't get rejected by. She just thinks it's the most hilarious thing ever. So it's nice to be able to share your silliness with someone else as well, if you can. If not, do it for your own amusement. And that's something simple, doesn't cost anything. If you have to set an alarm to like look at something funny, puppy videos, baby videos, whatever you got to do, something that's fun, not just like, oh, that feels really soothing and settling. That's great, so nature and gardening. But I highly recommend, especially for folks who didn't have many hobbies or pursuits that had nothing to do with any kind of production, but just to do it for the sake of doing it, like art that like, you don't know, you don't have the talent. It doesn't matter. It just feels fun to use the crayons and all that for fun. Do it. Again, like me, if you like to make up silly skits and songs, do that. And one of these days I'll probably get the guts up to maybe record it every once in a while. I only share it in private spaces, so if you want to be part of the peaceful eating community, I probably have the guts to share it there, and that's about it. Or maybe with some of my private folks, but maybe I'll get the guts and lead by example. We'll see. But anyway, have some fun. Find some way to have do some silly fun. Sometimes it's other things like melting crayons and just see what happens. I mean, it doesn't matter. And the bigger things too, of course, would be our adventures and our horseback riding and our whatever, go into farms and playing with goats, stuff like that, whatever you got to do to bring some joy into some play into life. So today we talked about 3 things, which is your neurosensory exercises before, during, and after sessions, or meals will feel like a session for a lot of us. Number 2 is capture those thoughts, speak truth. And number 3 is have some fun, have some play. That will make your eating and digestion so much better. All 3 of those, all the way around. If you put those things into practice, along with your practical stuff around having enough food in the house, setting up food experiments with people that are relatively safe, again, The night before, if you have to, plan ahead a little bit to get your needs met. Some people are just like, oh, I'm doing intuitive eating and I'll just kind of see what happens. Like, I don't know if I would wing it that soon just yet. You can do that later. But at the beginning, if you're not consistently eating, you end up consistently sometimes not knowing when your edges are, and we're doing it too soon, and then we end up like, why am I so obsessive? Or on the other hand, why am I like grazing on a whole bag of chips again? Well, let's look at your food. Oh, you know, the neural pathway of like really knowing what you need, how to get it, when to get it, how to hold on to it isn't quite strong enough yet to hold it when other things are flying at you that you got to deal with. So don't move too fast if your system can't hold what it is that if it can't hold normative eating yet. So take your time and know that it's a journey, but this is not going to last forever. If we get the foundation really solid, you create a really great landing pad for recovery to stick. Again, this is back, I'm reviewing Monday's video, but safe relationships, good providers, healthy people. Keep pursuing that mundane but very, very important stuff. So this is this week's videos. I think I jammed a lot in too, so I hope you enjoyed them. If you have any comments, please put them below. There's some stuff if you have something that mundane that like, wow, when I really just did this simple thing, it was a game changer. The dominoes fell. It's great. If you have something like that too, please put it in the comments below and share with others who like, oh, I never thought of that. That sounds really amazing. Yeah, exactly. All right, thank you all so much, and I will see you in next week's videos. Bye for now.